Ladies and gentlemen, Uniquely Unqualified Podcast, Episode 10. Today is Friday, March 13th, Friday the 13th, 2026. Got a few little updates to get into Iran, some interesting news about Cuba, and I want to bash the Democrats a little bit. Before we get into any of that, please like and subscribe. It helps me as I grow this channel. And if you don't favor the content, subscribe anyway. We'll fall to the bottom of your algorithm and you won't see much of me except for my silly face when I post a new video. Let's get right into it in a bit of a time crunch today. Number one, Iran. So I don't know which one of any viewers or people that are engaged in this subject wanted to bet on U.S. boots being deployed to the region of Iran. However, I was very, very afraid, very hopeful, but definitely afraid that there would certainly be U.S. troops deployed to Iran for potential ground operations. I don't know, standard infantry shit. Hopefully we wouldn't see a ground invasion in Iran. I don't see the reason why, considering everything you hear from the Secretary of War, Hegseth, President Trump, that Iran is basically absolutely decimated and obliterated. However, they have been misbehaving a little bit in defiance around the Strait of Hormuz. Anyway, so the United States announced that 2,500 United States Marines will be deployed to the Strait of Hormuz after rocket and drone attacks on shipping vessels in the Strait. Whenever the U.S. government says we're not ruling something out, that means that's next. We won't rule out boots on the ground. Okay, intense bombing campaign, next, boots on the ground. There's a joke in the Marines, because 2,500 Marines. Marines stands for, this is a joke, my ass rides in naval equipment. So that joke is just to say that they're going to the Strait of Hormuz, which is water. So assumably, we're going to see ships with 2,500 Marines basically on standby to touch ground at any moment. However, I could also see and understand that because there are drone attacks and the like going on in the Strait of Hormuz, that you're probably going to see these 2,500 Marines put boots on ground to gain physical control of the Gulf, the Persian Gulf side of Iran. We talked about Karg Island, which the U.S. would be very interested in securing that island. We've also said that the new Ayatollah, Mojtaba Khamenei, is probably, hiding in a bunker in a mountain somewhere. The U.S. claims they know where this bunker is in this mountain, and they would like to potentially send U.S. Special Forces into that area as well to, I don't fucking know, tickle his feet or something. But the point of this whole thing is that we're putting boots on ground in Iran. I just would really like to know truly who is behind this influence, because I do not believe from the left or the right on the political spectrum. I don't believe that either support or tolerance for a full-on ground war in Iran is there amongst the American people. You know, we did a lot of blustering about Miriam Adelson controlling Trump, AIPAC controlling our government and such. And when you look at the behavior of our political leaders acting in direct defiance of, I guess, what would that be? Like the public want of the United States of America. This is just going to continue to escalate until this looks something like Iraq. The moment that you put boots on the ground, it's like that old school Christmas claymation cartoon, Santa Claus is coming to town, where Old Man Winter is trying to, you know, just put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. Well, this 2,500 any special forces that are already in the area, and this 2,500 Marines that are going into the area is just that first step. I could be wrong. However, when we look at actions and track records of the United States military decisions, it seems like it's pretty clear that this is going to become something of some kind of an occupation. You know, the Marines do not require congressional approval to do anything. That's a little secret that you civilians don't necessarily know. It takes congressional approval for the president to have a full-on war and deploy the army. But when it comes to the Marines, you know, Marine commanders have a little red phone on their desk that rings, and if it's the president that says, put your people here at this many numbers, they have to do it. Congress does not have any authority over that at all. So we start with the Marines. A couple of them get killed in attacks or whatever from Iran. Boom. Now we can get approval for the army. And then we send in the fucking army. And, you know, I guess I could understand the play when it comes to the oil, other resources, the geography of Iran. Certainly the incredibly violent and aggressive theocracy that is what the Ayatollah runs. I thought we bombed the piss out of everything. I can understand that it's like, okay, let's wipe this out and then take control. Okay. We wiped it out, and I understand that you need some kind of a force to take control. 2,500 Marines isn't very many Marines. It's not enough to take control, I would imagine. But I just feel like we're seeing this slip into a potential Iraq Part 2. There are already other NATO countries removing their support. Italy, the Italian Prime Minister, which I believe is not a Trump sympathizer, but she's very amicable or amenable to working with President Trump. She announced that Italy will not be supporting the war effort with Israel and the US in Iran. Well, the reality of that is whoop-de-doo, ma'am. Like, y'all don't... I was all over Afghanistan. I saw everything from Irish infantry to Romanian troops to fucking Chinese soldiers in Afghanistan. French. I don't know if I saw many, if any at all, Italian troops. So that's, maybe neither here nor there. But if Western allies are again, it only takes one step. One step, send 2,500 troops, get a few of them killed, boom, get approved to send the army in, bang, invasion. Italy, we don't support this. Well, Italy, and then maybe Germany, and then maybe France. We're already pissy with Spain. But this whole thing could really collapse. And so when I ask, who the fuck is making these decisions regardless of the support? Because I just can't see, or at least I don't want to see, if we've already decimated everything. I just can't see the United States Commander-in-Chief saying, fuck what my Republican constituents want. We're doing another Iraq. Afghanistan, I don't get it. The American people, the American economy is exhausted with this shit. And we're 2,500 Marines. Italy says, whoa, you weren't supposed to put that in. We ain't putting anything in. Now we're gonna pull out. It's I don't know, man. Like this Iran thing this is not looking good. This is not looking good. Anyway, I don't think that this is going to be, this might be an economic victory in the end for Donald Trump regarding resources, oil, influence in that area. Could be very unpopular for him. Just the fact that we keep moving forward with this Iran shit, could be very unpopular. It's already very unpopular. But I mean, this could guarantee that the socialist Marxists that are branded as Democrats, this could go very badly for the Trump administration and any kind of efforts to restore law and order, because I do believe that he does want law and order in the country. I do believe that. I do believe that he wants undocumented people out. I do believe that he would like the SAVE Act to be passed. We'll get to that a little bit. I do believe he would like to see only American citizens voting. I do believe that. However, I don't understand why you would run the risk of this going so bad in a direction where it literally collapses your entire political effort and just hands everything back to the fucking radicals that are they're the minority in the country. But if America gets an Iraq 2.0 with Iran, and the whole fucking GOP is like, no, this is good, this is good, this is good. That's a wrap, son. That's a fucking wrap. You know, like, I don't know why we couldn't, like, just restore economic, we didn't have to go after everything at once, I guess is what I'm saying. We just didn't have to go after it all at once. You know, I would say if this whole Iran thing was going to be a thing, just sit on it for another, but here's the problem. Whatever force is pushing this Iran thing, I think whoever that person really is, they want to see this happen in their lifetime, and they're a very old person. And so instead of just entering into better negotiations with China, you know, go ahead and do the whole Venezuela thing, you know, put your blockade or your economic sanctions on Cuba, okay, you know, do whatever you do, but like, I don't understand why you wouldn't, if Trump was really, really worried about his legacy, why would you continue to escalate this? Because you're gonna fucking lose in the long run with the people, because the people don't want it. Not everybody is somebody like me that can sit here and say that we understand the play because we need to choke off China and their energy resources. They just think American lives back in the Middle East for another forever war, regardless of what you said months ago or weeks ago. You will be considered, you'll be branded a forever fucking liar, and the American people will turn their back on you in a moment. There is something to be said for, you know, maintaining a little bit of the status quo, especially in a situation like this. I don't understand, you know, like, my play would be, overall, I would like to make sure that whatever this fucking thing in the Democratic Party is, I would just rather see it not be able to be at the highest authority for a while. I would like to see them be put in timeout for a couple of administrations, not just one. You know, so maybe don't fucking ruin everything for yourself again with the American people and what they would like to see. Because 2,500 troops, now we're over 4 weeks. Now we're over 4 weeks, baby. You know, we were told, Trump said, oh, about 4 weeks. Not anymore. Now we're looking at a couple months now. Troops in there? Yeah, a couple months now. Then a couple of them get killed by Iranian strikes, drones, bombs, whatever. And like I said, there goes the army. Now we're in it for years. So I just don't understand why you just don't press pause on the fucking Iran thing for a hot minute. Just press pause on Iran for a minute. You know, if Trump isn't removing funding from Ukraine, which is still going on, by the way, removing funding from Ukraine is an impeachable offense. Okay, Trump was impeached before. Clinton was impeached. And impeachment doesn't mean you're removed from office. So just remove the funding from Ukraine, go into negotiations with Russia so that you can kind of start driving a wedge in between Russia and China's economic partnership. Just take the impeachment, fuck it, I guess. But nope, we're gonna keep funding going to Ukraine, and we're gonna dick with this Iran thing. It's gonna make you look awful if this turns into something that lasts even a year. It's gonna make you look, if this lasts up to June, then yeah, I think that you see the Blues win out, or at least win more in the midterms. You can't do this, man. You can't do this. I would rather see Trump fulfill this thing, his last term that he's got. There is a clause under like World War, a president can assume a third term so that we don't change the commander-in-chief during a hot war. Ooh, maybe that's the thing. But if we're going to have federal elections in 2028, then I would have liked to just see maybe Trump as a more lukewarm president, and then let Vance or Rubio or somebody take the helm. And again, keep those socialist Marxists branded as Democrats on, keep them in timeout. Nope, you guys need to change your fucking methods. Instead, fuck, dude. All this could be for absolute nothing, and all this whole Trump thing, the whole voter thing, all of it, and then we hand it over to a fucking Kamala Harris or a Gavin Newsom. Just, god damn it. One win, though, I will say, the dictator of Cuba, I guess he's shitting his pants, because he announces that Cuba is going to begin negotiations with the United States. Whatever the fuck that means, right? What does Cuba have to negotiate with, I guess, He's got to go. That's the point, the dictator. I'm an idiot. I didn't write down his damn name. Anyway, so I don't know what we do know. What a lot of the shit that Trump was saying to Maduro, we do know a lot of that, right? Trump was saying, Maduro, you need to go. Like, I want A, B, and C, and D. And D, I want to see A, B, and C happen. And then as soon as C happens, then you are gone. And D is the one thing that Maduro said no to. So that's why we went in and swooped him up in the middle of the night while he was in his jammies. So this is a play for the Cuban dictator to, maybe he's a more level head. Maybe he says, okay, this is over. Let's try to transition politically in a much more peaceful way. We'll see. I like it. I do like it. So, like I had mentioned earlier about the SAVE Act, I do want to get into that a little bit, because this is my spot where I think I'm very, very displeased with the Democrats amongst 3 topics. 4. but one of them wasn't a Democrat Party issue. It's just this stupid liberal lady on TV. You know, I kind of have a hard time calling some of these people stupid. I think that they're just doing a job. But it's like, I know you know better. I know you know better than what you're saying. Why would you say that? For a paycheck? I mean, I've done a couple things for the money. Literally 2 things, I've done it for the money. And, you know, as I sit here today, I guess I'm fine. But I would never do it again, ever. You know, I'm kind of a only need to be told once kind of guy. And then there's some bigger lessons that I'll, you know, get smacked a second time. And there definitely won't be a third time. But these people are just living their life for the money. No honor. No real position for them to hold themselves. Anyway. So, I was having this discussion with my wife. We see a lot of rhetoric, and most of it's breaking down, right? The Democrats are going up there and filibustering about how it's going to take, married women won't be able to vote. That is pure horse shit. That is a pure lie. It is absolutely untrue. If that were the case, a married woman wouldn't be able to get her real ID or star card or whatever you want to call it, or a fucking passport. Let me tell you what you need for both a real ID, star card, or a passport if you are a married woman. You need your birth certificate and your marriage certificate. Your birth certificate, your social security card, your marriage certificate if you're married. That's it. Boom. Proof that you were born this person and you married this person and now your name has changed. There is absolutely no reason or way that the SAVE Act being passed would keep married women from voting. That is a pure lie. That is absolute horrid bullshit that is being spewed upon in the filibuster in the Senate with this fucking SAVE Act. It's horseshit. The whole thing about black people can't vote. I have never met a black person that doesn't have a fucking driver's license or a birth certificate or a marriage certificate. You know what? I know a few with a passport too. I know a bunch of them that served in the military. You know what you can't do is serve in the military if you don't have a birth certificate. Well, how'd they get there? So the whole, black and brown people not being able to, bullshit, horse shit, horse shit. Yes, they can. Yes, they do all the time. If you're born in the country, you get the documentation for free once you're born. Now, it's on your parents to make sure that they save it and keep it safe. But let's say your parents don't save it and keep it safe. Or let's say you become an adult and your parents give it to you and you lose it. I said it in a different episode where you call up the Social Security Administration and you say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Social Security Administration person, this is me. I lost my birth certificate and I would like a passport, or I would like to register to vote, or whatever, or I would like to join the military. And then the person on the other side of that phone will say, okay, Mr. Brown or black person, we charge this much money to send that out to you. Mr. Brown or black person on this phone says, okay, yes, I have that much money. It is not a lot. Here it is. Social Security Administration says, we'll send your shit out. It should be there in 2 weeks. That's how that happens. I've had to do it twice because I'm a dumbass and I've lost my fucking birth certificate. I've lost my Social Security card. If you're born in the United States of America, this documentation is not only very available to you, you are entitled to it. So all of this bluster about the SAVE Act keeping brown and black people and women from voting is just pure Democrat Party propagandistic bullshit, because there are potentially tens of millions. I wanted to run the statistic because I didn't do it the last time. So I've said before, there's anywhere from 330 to 350 million people in the United States of America. Let's just go with 350 by this point. 1/3, only 1/3 of the country votes. In 2020, when Joe Biden got elected, biggest voting turnout in modern U.S. presidential election history. You want to know how many people voted? Less than 150 million. So 1/3 of the population dictates who's running the show for the other 2/3. That's a horrible imbalance. So if there's only a third, 1.3 million or 130 million people out of 330 to 350 million, if there's only 130 million people voting, and there's 10 to 30 million people on voter registries that are either illegal or dead, and they're still casting votes, now we're down to 100 million people. And unfortunately for the Democrats, yes, it is true that a lot of this snaky voting shit is happening under them. I say what you want about the George W. Bush election. That was then, this is now. Let's focus on now. You don't want that to happen again? Do this SAVE Act thing. I also believe that we should go to only paper balloting. The only fucking piece of technology you should use for voting paper ballots. I don't know if y'all ever remember in school something that you used to take a test on called Scantron, and you take a number 2 graphite pencil and you scribble in the circle and you send it through the Scantron, and the Scantron is pre-programmed with what's the correct answer as each number goes down. We can do that for voting just the same, and it'll just tick. However many candidates there are, 3, 4, whatever, and you just send them through. Human being doesn't need to count it. It's a really analog technology, but you're on paper ballots, you send it through, and whatever that ticker says is who the fuck wins. Pretty simple. So, whatever happened with what were they, the Dominion voting machines back with the George W. Bush thing, we don't learn, man. We don't learn. This is sad and scary to me. The fact that we're sitting here today knowing that we have a real integrity issue with our elections, and we do. And the biggest, most unfortunate part of it is that right now, as we sit in 2020, 2026, it is primarily the Democrat Party that would like to, at this point, lie to you about your wife, your black or Mexican neighbors who are citizens and their inability to vote, or this fucking Republican lady from Alaska that won't go vote for the SAVE Act because Alaskans are too goddamn stupid to get. Now we're saying, so now it's not even just black and brown people. Now we're all too fucking stupid to have documentation to vote. So, if you remove tens of millions of names, current names from voter registries, right now, that would fuck the Democrats. That would fuck them, voting wise. And that is what this stall is about. That's what it's about. They've tried to give you all those tropes that I've spoken about, and each time one falls off, boom, another dumb one pops up. Nope, we're gonna exhaust the shit out of that one in discussion and debate. Well, another one pops up. Exhaust that one in discussion and debate. This one Nope, we cannot sit here and continue to exhaust these subjects, especially if this one side, taking whatever funding that they're taking from whoever they're taking it from, that's saying, no, we don't want, this party doesn't want this passed. Meanwhile, overwhelmingly, the United States public, all three, white, brown, black, yellow, we all, well over 70% of American citizens want the SAVE Act passed, Republicans, Democrats alike. And the fact that your political leaders, who you voted for, and they are supposed to do what you want them to do, they work for you. It's not the fucking other way around. They're supposed to represent you. And if you are a vast majority of wanting this passed, it is the political leader's fucking job to pass it, regardless of if they like it or not. So, it's just unfortunate, man. Could you imagine watching a UFC fight and just somebody that just won't tap out, won't throw in the towel, is just getting beaten, and they die in the ring because of their own fucking pride and hubris? Could you imagine watching that? That's the same concept as what's going on here. You know, the Democrats have a failed message. Failed. There is a very small percentage of American people that unfortunately reside in that 1/3 of the voting public. But there is a very small percentage of American people that are sympathetic towards socialism, Marxism, communism, equity, inclusion, no merit. You know, I mean, just look at what the fuck happened in the Joe Biden administration. It was a clown show. Transgendered fucking Navy people going on TV, transgendered nuclear scientists stealing bags at the fucking airport. I mean, come on, folks. So those people do reside in that 1/3 of the voting public. However, they are not the majority of even the voting public. They're in there, but they're not the majority of them. They are like a super duper minority. So, you know, the Democrats are, you know, they're just basically trying to shoehorn this socialist Marxist thing in. That's what's going on. Unfortunately, the vast percentage of Americans don't want it and don't like it, unfortunately for them. And instead of doing all this crazy shit in defiance, why don't you just go back to the drawing board? Why don't you just say, we're really losing on this whole thing? Maybe we should think of this differently. Maybe we should do this differently. Maybe we could bring in somebody to say, hey, this is how you can adjust that message to actually fit your constituents and what they want, and you can still kind of save face. Something, anything. You can be intelligent about this. This is the stupidest shit I've seen. Anyway, so here's one thing about the SAVE Act that I don't think matters. So we just saw a couple folks in the Senate lose their seats. So I don't think this means anything, because I just don't think it means anything. I don't think a Trump endorsement means anything to political people anymore. Maybe they do. I don't think so. So therefore, I don't think it's going to matter a hill of beans. Trump says that he's going to withhold any endorsement for any of the newly elected seats from Texas until a commitment to saying yes to the SAVE Act passes. I don't think that's going to matter. I think that's him thinking that he's worth more than he's worth right now. Anyway, so that's one thing that the Democrats are just, I think they're just becoming exposed when it comes to the SAVE Act, and I think that they are becoming exposed when it comes to this whole DHS funding. So two things on the DHS funding. Department of Homeland Security includes things like FEMA, we talked about that the other day, and also includes the Transportation Security Administration, otherwise known as those fucking pricks in blue suits with a badge at the security spot at the airport called TSA. Those people were put there in place after the Patriot Act expanded government fucking overreach to make flying an unbelievably uncomfortable experience just to get to the fucking plane because one asshole had M80 in his shoes or some bullshit. It's unreal, man. I had two friends. So one of my friends left to go to Ohio to the Arnold Classic. Once he left Mexico and got into America, trying to go through the airports and change flights and all that sort of stuff, he missed the show. Because the airports are in shambles. Again. Because all this DHS funding bullshit. So, he took his two boys to go see the Arnold Classic. And he's a really rich dude, so I'd imagine, go meet Arnold or something, and they missed it. Because there's no funding for TSA agents. TSA agents are not getting paid, they're calling out for work, or just outright quitting. The Democrats think that this 15-minute city thing, it's a real idea. There's very, very, very powerful, influential, very, very wealthy people, untold amount of wealth that are really trying to push for the 15-minute city thing and the one flight every 3 years or, whatever it is. That's a real push. That's a real thing. And what better way to do it than if I was Trump, I would just go in and executive order, TSA, not a thing anymore. You're done. If that's wiped off, you don't want to fund it, fine, wipe it off, boom. You get a couple of attendants that the airport used to hire, not a federal fucking position. The airport used to hire when I was a kid, somebody to stand at the damn the thing where your shit goes through, and they say, okay, you're clear, you're not clear. It doesn't take a federal agent to see, like, hey, he's got a knife in his bag, or hey, you've got a bottle of water in your bag. You're not allowed to have that. Does not take a federal agent for that. And wait lines at the airport used to be forever. You show up to the airport an hour before your flight because it was just that simple. It was just that simple. And then all of a sudden, all this crazy bullshit. And yes, I do think that 9/11 was a job done by the United States of America on its own people to do shit like this, create TSA and chaos and just. I do think that the Patriot Act was a horrible, horrible piece of legislation. But once people see, this is the other side of this coin about, Trump and Iran and the Democrats and shit. Once people see, like, what's the problem here? Who's holding this up? Oh, the Democrats? Well, that's not going to look good on the Democrats. But right now, they're kind of getting almost like a freebie into this 15-minute city thing, because just with the whole ICE and DHS thing, this is just kind of like collateral damage for them. Oh, good. It's already so goddamn unpleasant to fly. And now let's tick, 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 turn that up a notch or 5. Make it fucking impossible to even get on a plane. Seen the image at the Austin airport. The security line looks like a goddamn Pokemon card release at a Comic-Con. It's crazy, going out the airport, down the block. It's fucking nuts. So anyway, the other person that flew into Houston and said, that was a clusterfuck. My wife and I are supposed to, I don't think we're doing it now. We'll go without a trip to Hawaii this year. But we were supposed to be going from here, where we're down in Mexico, back to the States to meet up with her family, jump on a plane that they purchased this trip for us, for all of us, everybody. And then go to Hawaii for a week. I ain't leaving this country right now. There's no fucking way I'm going back to the States right now. I mean, I guess I'd drive, but I'm at the bottom of the damn country of Mexico. I have to drive, and my home in the States is all the way up in Idaho, and that borders fucking Canada. So I would literally have to drive from the bottom of one country, through it, into another, all the way to the top of another one. And I ain't gonna do that either, because everything costs so goddamn much. So, TSA is in shambles. And it is just absolutely impossible for Americans to move around and get anywhere, get anything done. And here's the second thing about the Dems and the DHS funding. These people are so insufferable. I think, was she Mississippi? Oh, I forget, this Democratic representative that was just in a hearing for restoring funding to DHS yesterday or whatever it was. And she votes it down. She says no. Well, there's a goddamn radical Islamic attack in her state. literally like that day, and then she goes on TV, says, oh, we need to restore funding for DHS because now my people are getting bombed. Well, what the fuck do you think was gonna happen? So now you've got this sleeper cell thing. Could be a real fucking problem. Seems like it's either sleeper cells or very ambitious young Muslims that see this as an opportunity to just fuck up the interior of the United States of America. One or the other. Doesn't matter. They're doing it. And what do you need in order to stop that? Funding for the Department of Homeland Security so that you can get your federal agents out there and do the investigations and track them down and arrest them and deport them. But you're not funding it. And so now it's coming at your fucking doorstep. So now I think that this is another loss for the Big D Democrats. This is horrible for them. This is really, really fucking bad for them. Americans, business runs, commerce runs off of people. Have anybody been on a fucking airplane that has a first class section? It's full of business owners and executives that need to get to and from. And so now you're fucking with commerce. And so now there's no federal agents getting paid to go arrest radical Islamic terrorists in the country. And these people are so goddamn just fucking dug in on this butt Trump fucking narrative that it's gone so far now that one day they vote to not restore the funding. That day or hours after they vote to not restore the funding, there's an attack in their district, and their constituents is like, where's the fucking arrests? And then she has to go, oh shit, it's coming to my front door. It always comes to your front door, always. You're never righteous enough for the mob, you guys. This isn't a game. This isn't some fucking political game. You guys fucking suck. Take the L, get the fuck over it. Listen to what the American people want. And then come back to play. Sometimes I don't even know what to say. Good, let's change the subject. Abby Phillip, another one of these good-looking chicks that is in your face, telling you what to think. I don't know exactly what she said, but CNN really got fucked up over this New York City terrorist attack with these two young men throwing bombs into a protest. So first it was like two teenage boys from Pennsylvania enjoying what was otherwise a beautiful day. It's like I was given a writing project in 4th grade to write a story, and that's how I started it. And this is what people are listening to on CNN. Unreal. Anyway, so they ate crow with that. And then this dipshit Abby Phillip goes on TV with her fucking eyes and actually tries to push that those bombs were meant for Mamdani. I'm sorry, man, CNN, Abby, that whole white supremacy, white Christian man bad, that you've lost that one. You've lost it. There's 20-year-old boys out there today that you've tried to just tell them how shitty they are Well, they're not shitty. So what? You think that's a tactic to get them on your side? What? Do you want the American people to be sympathetic towards fucking terrorists in any way? Sounds like it. Well, anyway, she got caught. She actually had to. I don't want to see an apology. I want to see a firing. So she goes on TV and apologizes. Oh, I'm so sorry. Or whatever the fuck she said. No, you're not. You're not fucking sorry. Somebody told you to do it. You took it for the paycheck. That's what I said earlier about doing it for the money. You know goddamn good and well. You fucking know. You know that what you're saying is hot dog shit. But you're getting paid to spew hot dog shit so that your side can keep DHS unfunded, so that more of these attacks can happen and no fucking arrests happen, so that TSA can be an unmitigated disaster right now. You should be fired with a big red X on your fucking profile, so that when you go to any other outlet with influence over people that watch and listen, you shouldn't be able to. You have just tanked your journalistic integrity. I want to see that happen, man. I want to see fucking, if senators and ex-presidents were diddling little kids on an island somewhere, I want to see them go to jail. I want to see them fucking put to death. That's evil. Evil. I don't want to see this bitch come on TV and say, I'm supposed to say that I shouldn't have said that, and see you tomorrow, so I can say some other bullshit lie to you. And then come on again and so I don't get sued and just retract what I said. Ah! You're fired. You're fucking fired, man. God. Fucking Abby Phillip. Is Benjamin Netanyahu dead? I don't think so. I don't think so. But it is kind of interesting that there's a few things floating around the social media sphere. This is not the first one I saw, but I saw one on X this morning where they're, regardless if he's dead or not, I think this clearly was an AI generated thing. I don't think it's any evidence to any side of whether or not he's dead or alive. If anything, it's just to start stirring up shit. But, you know, it was reported that, like, his house was hit. Iran launched a rocket attack and successfully hit Netanyahu's house, one of them. And I watch a lot of news. I pay pretty close attention. I haven't heard any recent statements come out from that guy, and I've seen 3 or 4 things in the last couple days asking the question of whether or not he's alive. You know, fuck it, it ain't my country. I hope he's dead. That guy's a problem. I don't want my president to die. I don't want any of my presidents to be assassinated or cooed. It doesn't matter how much I dislike them and disapprove of them. It's uniquely un-American. It's uniquely un-American. Our political structure is unironically, what is supposed to bind us together and our differences? Our Constitution and the Bill of Rights set inside of that. That regardless of anything that we could disagree with, we can come together as a collective, as Americans, to make decisions together. Somewhere along the line, that was lost. You know, Netanyahu is not a popular politician. He wasn't a popular president after the whole October 7th thing. So I am not Israeli and I am not Jewish. So I'm an American. And it breaks my fucking heart that JFK was assassinated by way more than likely our own CIA. Nixon, the most popular president in US history, was cooed out of office. That whole Watergate thing, look into it. Don't ask me to explain it. You go fucking find out. That was a setup. Nixon really didn't do anything. When he was like, I am not a crook. Well, he wasn't lying to you. He was really set up and cooed out. Look it up. Go figure it out for yourself. It hurts me as an American, as a former service member, that is what happens or happened. And if the 2020 election shit was stolen, rigged, whatever, I'll reserve any comments and statements about Joe Biden if that's the case for this moment. But when I saw that they were coming for Trump's head, just because, yeah, he is a threat to their agenda. He is. Because none of it works. It only enriches them, and he's going to tear it down. I want it torn down. You know, I guess none of us really thought that it would look anything like this, but anyway, I don't want my presidents to be killed or cooed in any of those fashions. However, when you are a bloodthirsty maniac like fucking Benjamin Netanyahu, maybe we don't see him out in public again. Maybe. Well, folks, it's Friday. And I would like to have a good rest of my afternoon. Maybe go have a beer on the beach with some friends. Stop thinking about all this crazy crap. So, like and subscribe. Pretty pleased with the cherry on top. It really helps me as I grow this channel. I want to see growth. I do want to grow this channel. I think that this could turn into something. I think it could turn into something. It'll morph, it'll change. But every subscription and every view keeps me moving down that road. So I appreciate it. Uniquely Unqualified Podcast, Episode 10. That's a wrap, son. We will come to you on Monday. And I guess we'll see what happens over the weekend. Have a good one.